Hello, and thank you so much for watching my time-lapse painting video. At this stage, I think this video will be called something obnoxious like why I'm not a painter. Typically, I hate these type of YouTube titles, you know, the sort, why your art sucks, or why your portfolio isn't professional. I just find that they immediately make you feel bad about yourself before you've even clicked on them, and they are just usually clickbaity, obvious tips that you could get from a much friendlier titled video. But in this case, I'm specifically talking about myself, so hopefully that's less obnoxious. So I should say that when I'm talking about painting, for me, I'm talking about digital painting, using a program such as TVPaint or Photoshop, but I'm sure that my ineptitude in painting would extend to traditional painting as well. In fact, it would be worse there than it is in digital medium. So then, why am I trying to paint this little dog? Well, my sister, who is by all accounts a pretty good sister, asked me a long time ago to paint her puppy as a dessert. So on the very left side, we have the main reference photo that I'm using of her dog, Kirby. In the middle is just a very old line drawing that I did, and looking at it now, it's pretty terrible, but at the time, I don't know, it looked okay. I mean, not to get too defensive about criticisms I'm making of myself, but in reality, that line drawing was a lot smaller in the composition. It was part of like a perspective challenge I gave myself, and it was maybe like a tiny, like 3% of the total picture. And on the very right side is where I'll be working on my painting for most of this video. I think I honestly started strong with this one, but the further along I go, and this is the case for all my painting, I bump up against issues that are fundamental to painting that I am particularly weak in. So I would say number one, and one which I do want to improve on, is color. So it's not just observing color, which in this case I think I didn't do the best job of either. I missed a lot of the light browns and the reflection of the yellow light in the fur. But it's also my color design, my ability to put colors together and make them work, or even to accentuate certain colors. I just don't think I have that innate sense, and something that I obviously need to work on. I think you can improve it through study. That's my hope anyway. I will cut myself some slack here and say that with subjects where the local value is primarily white or primarily black, it can be difficult to contrast the values correctly. So the next thing is that I'm not highly detail oriented. And actually, before that, I should say that my process is also extremely sloppy. Probably a really talented painter, or not even a really talented painter, a moderately talented painter could do what I've done in about an hour and just knock it out because they have a really clean and effective process. And you can probably see that throughout this video as well, that I just spend so much time in doubt and indecision and blocking in colors and then redoing them. But anyway, like I was saying, I don't think I have that brain that enjoys rendering out details so much. And I know there's different styles of painting. Not all painting is hyper realistic or focuses on a huge amount of rendering. There's lots of different simplified painting styles, and probably I'd gravitate towards them a little more. I just feel like the gratification I get when I animate something roughly is immediate, or draw for that matter, when I draw something roughly. And I can immediately see that it's working. And then, honestly, when it falls apart is when I have to go in and tidy it up and add color. And it seems like a large part of the painting process is that part. It's like all cleanup all the time. And as I'm recording this, I'm realizing how negative that sounds. I just want to be clear, I love paintings. I love highly detailed illustrations and really clean digital painting and traditional painting. Just because I'm saying that I enjoy drawing much more than rendering doesn't mean that I don't love those things too. It doesn't even mean that I don't want to get better at it. In fact, I think I have to get better to some extent. At the very least, I have to be able to paint my sister a dog without breaking my brain every time. This cream actually on top of Kirby's head is a great demonstration of that principle I was talking about earlier, where it can be quite difficult to paint something which has a local value that's mostly white. So I was really trying to not go too white on the cream because I know that's not how that value structure works, but yeah, I never really nailed the cream right till the end. I rebuilt it a few times and I never really got it to resemble that texture. So at about this stage, I realized I would need to switch from working on a document that is in landscape at about 4K to a document that is in portrait and designed to be printed on an A3 canvas. So what I might do from here is put the resized time lapse of work on Ashley's canvas to the right, and then on the left side I can pretty much do whatever I want. Ashley is my sister, by the way. I think that's the first time I've said her name. So looking to the right there, you can see that it is getting closer to being finished, but actually there are still so many small details which are frustrating to paint, but are also vital to making sure the painting works in the end. I think at this stage I exported to Procreate to take advantage of some of the unique brushes, which are used in particular for the strawberries and probably for some finer fur detail. So this is the point at which I showed it to Ashley just to get her thoughts on what I needed to do with regards to the background. I didn't want her to have a painting which she couldn't put anywhere because she hated my color choice. And boy, did we cycle through some color palettes. I would have loved to wrap up the video with her thoughts on the piece, but I honestly don't think she would be too interested in being featured in one of my crummy art videos. So instead I have this old animation I made, which is a nice way to sign off for her, I think. Just don't judge the art too much. Like I mentioned, it's from the beginning of when I started learning.
My name's Ashley Hooper, and I live in Australia, and I work for a big company, and I have a brother named Nicholas Hooper, and he's super cool, and he lives in Japan, and he borrows money from my mum and dad nearly every single month, and I'm 30!
That is perfect. I'm really happy with that. I don't think we could have had her sum it up any better, even if she had been here and given her thoughts to us directly. Thanks a lot for watching, and yeah, I really appreciate it.